So, a crisis, insoluble problem, major crisis. Both stepmothers want their name on the wedding invitation. Catherine adores her stepmother, who more or less brought her up. She wants her name on the invitation. She wants it and is not anticipating, which is understandable, since the mother is dead, not appearing next to Catherine's father. Whereas my stepmother, whom I detest, it's out of the question her name should appear on it. But my father won't have his on if hers isn't, unless Catherine's stepmother is left off, which is completely unacceptable. I suggested that none of the parents' names should be on it. After all, we're not adolescents. We can invite people to our wedding and announce it ourselves. So Catherine screamed her head off at me, arguing that'd be a slap in the face for her parents, who were paying through the nose for the reception, and particularly for her stepmother, who's gone to so much trouble when she isn't even her daughter. So, I finally let myself be persuaded, totally against my better judgment, because she wore me down. I finally agreed that my stepmother, whom I detest, who's a complete bitch, will have her name on the invitation. So I telephoned her to warn her. Mother, I said, I've absolutely no choice, but Yvonne's name has to be on the invitation. If Yvonne's name is on the invitation, take mine off! Mother, I said, please, I beg you, don't make things even more difficult. How dare you suggest my name is left to float around the cardinal's son, as if I was some abandoned woman below Yvonne, to be clamped onto your father's surname like a limpet. Mother, I have friends waiting for me. I'm going to hang up and we'll call and discuss this after a good night's sleep. Why is it I'm always an afterthought? What do you mean, Mother? You're not always an afterthought. Of course I am. And when you mean don't make things even more difficult, what you mean is everything's already been organised about me. Everything's being cooked up behind my back. Everything's been decided about me. Good old Huguete. She'd agree to anything. And all this in order to put the tiddling on it. Mother, I have friends waiting for me. That's right. There's always something better to do. Anything's more important than I am. Goodbye. And she hung up. Catherine, who was listening next to me, but who hadn't heard her side of the story, said, "What did she say?" She said she didn't want her name on the invitation. I'm not talking about that. What did she say about the wedding? Nothing. You're lying! I'm not, Kathy. I promise you. She just doesn't want her name on the invitation with Yvonne, which is understandable. Call her back and tell her when your son's getting married. You rise above your vanity. You could say the same thing about your stepmother. That's got nothing to do with it. It's not her, poor thing. It's me. She's that personified. If she had any idea of the problem she'd be causing, she'd be down on her knees begging for her name to be taken off. Now call your mother. So, I call her again. By now, I'm in shreds. Catherine is listening on the extension. Yvonne, up to now you conducted your affairs in the most chaotic ways imaginable. And just because out of the blue you decided to embark on matrimony, I find myself obliged to spend an afternoon and evening with your father. A man I haven't seen in 17 years, and to whom I was not expecting to have to reveal my hip size and my puffy cheeks to. Not to mention Yvonne, who incidentally has taken up bridge, according to Felix Perolari. My mother also plays bridge. I can see none of this can be helped, but on the invitation, the one item which everyone's going to examine and receive, I insist on making a solo appearance. Catherine, listening on the extension, shakes her head and screws up her face in disgust. Mother, why are you so selfish? I'm not selfish. I'm not selfish. You're not going to be like Emma Ramiro this morning and say I had a heart to stone. The Derry Bennett family had a heart to stone. The Derry Bennett family had a heart to stone. That's what Emma Ramiro said this morning when I refused to raise her wages. She's gone completely mad, by the way. To 60 francs each hour, tax-free. She had the gall to say everybody in our family had a heart to stone when she knew very well about poor Angela's pacemaker. You haven't even bothered to drop him a line. Yes, that's right. Very funny. Everything's a joke to you. Ivan, you still got a lot to learn about life. Go on, boy. Go and see your precious friends.